Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Homero Rios. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great.
He's driving to my house.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm an adrenaline junkie, so that's why I decide to have this conversation while I'm driving.
Okay, just
Because, because why not?
don't crash. Don't crash. I got into a car accident a couple of months ago, and I literally broke my neck. I just, yeah. I don't know if you watched my channel, and I had a neck brace on for the past few months.
Yeah, you give me that kind of vibe of a very extreme guy. So I wonder if that's correct.
so first up, you're a comic book writer, right? You write.
Absolutely. Since probably 2011, I started my career with Heavy Metal Magazine. That's where the first breakthrough that I have on comic books, and I've never stopped writing since then.
Uh, how do you start in heavy metal? That is such a prestige place. How did you get that?
Like everyone else, man, try sending pitches for short stories, horror stories, sci-fi stories. Back then, I was probably 23 years old, 22 years old, and that was one of my biggest dreams. And always, I like to make everything big. All the people told me like, "Hey, if you want a big breakthrough on comics, you have to start small, like a fanzine and stuff like that." Not me. That wasn't my attempt. That wasn't my plan. To me, it was like, I will try to give it a shot to heavy metal. If I succeed, this is for me, and if I fail, probably this is not part of the things that I have to do in life. And luckily, through hard work and stuff like that, I start to get published in heavy metal.
So I started working. I made my own comic. My own comic's called Heroic Tales. It's on Indiegogo, and Fund My Comic right now is the link. And I started working with Renzo Rodriguez.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Renzo?
Absolutely, Mexican guy.
Yeah, great guy. I was just talking to him just before you know, I just love Renzo. Not only is he a great talent, he's a good guy. And Renzo put me in contact with Oscar Carreno.
Yes.
And Oscar is your colorist, and he's my colorist. And Oscar is like, because he hears me talk about Rome. I have a degree in Roman history. So I like Roman Empire. I'm talking about Roman Empire. My character, the Patriarch, has a lot of stuff, Roman symbolism. And he says, "You're going to like this comic." And he sent me your comic to read. And oh my God, he's absolutely right. First off, it's beautiful. Second off, it's really, really I don't know how to describe it. It's Rome, but it's not Rome. So do you want to tell me about Rome Eternal?
Absolutely. First of all, big shout out to Oscar Carreño, because a very legendary colorist here in Mexico. He started to work in Marvel Comics since the 90s. So, yes, I'm very lucky to have that guy in my team, and I'm very sure that you feel the same way.
Oh, yeah. He's super talented.
Super talented. Yeah, probably a couple of years ago, I started with a very, very simple concept. To me, it was like try to create a story uh, of a very small group of actors back then who starts a rebellion against authority. So to me, Rome was like the epitome of the perfect tyranny, the
Okay.
perfect um, uh, let's say, a very corrupt system, a very authoritarian system, a very tyrannic system. So to me, it was like natural to bring this empire as a villain in my comic. So to me, in my first was, I want to put these actors on the spot, and they are part actors and part terrorists who fights through terrorism against the authority. And then I come up with the idea that, well, probably they're not actors, but they're like fanatics for this religion, the Mitraic mysteries. And suddenly I start to write the concept, develop the concept, and a couple of years later, that's just Rome Eternal. I was very lucky to being cast with Magma Comics, and they're being very kind with me regarding these kind of topics because I do understand there's topics that are very sensitive. I'm rebellion. I'm speaking about violence, and I trying to use these tools with a lot of care because I do understand there's very sensitive right now in the states. But regarding that, I do believe it's story, and we can achieve great things with this title. So yeah, that's the story behind Rome Eternal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good way to have a political story, but not alienate anybody. Is
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The Roman Empire. Nobody nobody's going to get their hearts hurt or feelings hurt with the you accusing the Roman emperors of being corrupt. But it's you know
Yep.
what I mean. But it's apt, because the Roman Empire's influence is worldwide.
Absolutely.
It would be hard. Even China could look at some sort of way that the Roman Empire influenced China. So it's really clever way of making politics, but making it like subtle and without banging people's heads over there, without banging the topic over people's heads. I can't speak today.
Yeah, because that's the way that the stories should work. There has
Absolutely.
to be like a very general and very universal for anyone. I'm not speaking to a singular population. I'm speaking about a wide audience. So
Right.
yeah, absolutely. That's one of the ways to do it.
Like if I'm reading this comic right now and I want to say like this is this political candidate, I can make that in my head. And somebody else can go, no, it's the other political candidate. It's like the X-Men. I think the X-Men works best when they're just the outcast, but we don't say what mutants. What is a mutant? It's anything you want it to be. So
Yeah.
when they make the mutant specific, I think they're limiting. So good job on this. I got to ask though, why the high tech in ancient Rome?
The high tech, because to me that was the genesis of this concept. It was a sci-fi story, and to me the sci-fi it's a very effective tool in order to develop sensitive topics because it gives you the idea that it's not part of your reality.
Right.
So high tech gives you uh, two main concepts. Number one is not part of your reality, but we both know that part of that reality applies on the story and also in your life. And two, it looks really, really good, really, really awesome. You
Yeah,
know?
it removes you from okay. This is not my world. I'm not going to get upset with this. Two, it's freaking cool. Okay, I'll agree with that. Can't argue with that. And your artist, I got to scroll back up to see what the artist's name is. This guy is outstanding.
Now, besides that, I have to admit that I'm a sci-fi junkie, so
Okay,
I believe that kind of stories. And also, I try to not use it as an excuse because sometimes we use the sci-fi just as an excuse to bring really cool gadgets and stuff like that. No, the sci-fi is more than just that. It's more than cool weapons or cool technology. It's references, it's topics, it's things that we can use in order to achieve certain goals in your stories. So I like to think that I use the genre in a very cool way, but the only way that you will get that is if you write the title. So you will tell me in your opinion if I achieve that with the high tech.
yeah. At first I was like, all right. At first I didn't expect there to be high tech in a story called Rome Eternal, but after a page I got over it and I started to really groove with it. I thought it was really cool. Uh, I got to say, the artist. I scrolled up to look at his name and then I instantly. How do you pronounce his name?
Diego,
Yapper.
Diego,
Yeah,
Diego.
so good. I mean, just look at these pages. Look at this. And I'm trying to keep to like the first 4 pages. I don't want to spoil your comic, but look
Yeah.
at that. That is so freaking cool. Are you a history guy too?
Not necessarily. Diego Diego Yapur is a very talented and also a very eccentric artist because he is not like the conventional Marvel guy uh, that knows how to deal with deadlines in a very orthodox way. He's more free. He's more like interpretative. He's more like I like to make this with the detail that I want to achieve. So, in the most extensive meaning of the word, he's a very cool and very complete artist. So that's the thing that I love about his work. He takes a lot of time, but at the same time, he delivers a very cool quality. So that was one of the main things that I loved about his job.
Yeah, so good. And Oscar's colors really, really complemented. There was one frame I oh,
Right.
oh
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Come on.
I hit the wrong button because I'm a
No
person.
worries.
But look at where is it? Did I scroll past it? Yeah, I don't want to go too far and give away your comic. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Okay.
Look at this guy's face right here. I'm going to make this bigger. I I just love this little strip right over here. Look at all of the details. Look at the expressions on everybody's faces. Everything works together on this. Do you write in English and then have it translated into Spanish? I mean, do you write in Spanish and then have it translated to English?
Well, for me, it's I do understand that English is my second language, but at the same time, I do understand that it's very, very important to write on English. So that's part of my process. I start completely in English for the approval of my editors. And then I do believe that Diego translate everything in Spanish. And at the same time, he speaks Spanish, I speak Spanish. So part of the process is also try to have this conversation between the writer and the artist to get things more specific in a very, let's say, rich way, because it's not only the interpretation that you give to the script, but it's also the small details that you can add to the process in order to assure a good result in the artist side. So I'm not the kind of writer that just uh, conforms or try to get short in. I only write the scripts and that's it. If there's something that I can do in order to get your work, your process a little bit easier, I will try to achieve that. So that's the things that I do with Diego and also with Oscar.
Oh, cool, cool. I'll show you something that I'm doing with Oscar in a little bit, but
Yeah.
I just love this. So you're not really a history guy, but I like the reasons why you picked Rome because with a little bit of imagination, everybody could kind of place themselves as the helpless citizen in this vast Roman machine. But
Yeah.
I'm a Roman. My degree is in Greco-Roman history, and I love it. I'm looking at all the costumes and stuff. So did you give him details to draw, or did he do his own research?
Well, I'll have to say that I'm trying to be. I try to keep a low profile about the geekness in my life, but I have to say I'm a bookworm. I read a lot. I love history. It's one of my favorite signatures on the school. I love history. I love poetry. I love philosophy. I love all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's part of the things that I love. I love the Roman era on the history books, and but yeah, I also try to keep my mind on the investigations and the research. I did a lot of research for the title, especially the esoteric part of the Roman religion back then on the first century. The Metric mysteries, it's something it was real and was part of the empire, but no one talks about it. It was a huge deal on the first and second century, and nobody talks about that. So I took that as a pivot, in order to develop the entire plot of this title. So yeah, probably that answer your question. That I'm kind of history guy. I'm a bookworm, and I'm proud of it. I'm
Yeah, me too. Me
proud of
too. I tell people history is the greatest story ever written. You know, it's you
my
know,
God, totally. I'm
yeah.
totally agree with that.
I
Totally.
I you know, I'm a couple my family, they're like, I hate history. I hate history class. And I always talk to I had a history teacher that just told history as it was a story. He said, just sit here and listen. And I'll never forget, he gave a lecture like it was like 3 days on the French Revolution. Until
Yeah.
this day, I could still tell the French Revolution as if it was a story. You know, such I hate when teachers ruin history for everybody. It's so cool. Now I wanted to look at this. I scrolled down to this is the last page was those Roman soldiers in armor, and then you scroll down to here, and this is all high tech, and this is all the same comic, and you know what? It works. You know, we got guys, you know, Roman armor and gladiuses and I forget what the helmets are called. Those big shields. This I forget what they're called. I think they're called stadias or something like that. And then you got this, and this looks right out of Mobius.
Completely. Yeah. Mobius was a very obligated reference for this title, because if you can see, Diego Yapur has like a lot of European influence on
Yeah,
his art. So Moebius was part of the reference, absolutely. Uh, this part of the title, it's very vital in order to understand the plot, because all this sequence, it's a mental construct inside of Scout. Scout is the protagonist, the
right.
character of this title. And right now, the Veritas Decisor and the Navigator, that guy with all the wires on his head, they're exploring Scout's head, all the memories, all the things inside his mind. So this first sequence of the title is very very surrealistic, but at the same time is very very sci-fi. So
Right.
one of the things that I love about this genre, that you can achieve this kind of sequence that are not easy, but are very very eye candy.
Yeah. I mean, this what I'm showing right here. It's a perfect blend of a history and sci-fi. I mean, look at
Yeah,
that Roman S soldier there, but it's obviously a sci-fi spear, and it's kind of like a disconnect at the same time, but it works so well because if you got all the sci-fi stuff, why would you have a spear? You know, but you have it anyway, and then
yeah,
you got this great look at. I got to show this, and again, I'm only showing the first 4 or 5 pages because it's not right to show off anymore. But look at these chariot designs. These are so cool. Did you design these, or did the artist design these?
I'm very I have like this TDH. I'm very obsessive with the details. So I try to bring a lot of reference to the table, because once again, part of my creative process is try to get things easier for the artist.
Right.
So I'm not an artist. I don't draw anything,
No,
but
no stick figures or anything.
yeah, but I try to keep things simple to the artist. So I bring a lot of reference to the table. So yes, the entire concept, the entire machinery, everything about that, it's my own concept, translated into the script. So Diego could get a good result on that concept art. So yeah, is the things that I have. I do believe that is part of my baggage on magical realism, that I bring stuff that is not probably practical, but it's very very aesthetic.
Right.
So
Again, like that spear. Why would these sci-fi guys have that spear? Because it works in this world.
absolutely works in that world, and because that's the kind of phenomenon that we have in different cultures. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Yeah, the Aztec Empire here in Mexico, one of the greatest empires in the world. A lot of things in medicine, in science, in astronomy, a lot of achievements, but the guys didn't use the wheel.
Right.
They use the wheel for toys.
For toys, yeah. I remember reading that as a kid, and I was fascinated by that idea.
But they didn't use the damn wheel as a practical manner as we do.
Right.
Why? Just because that was part of the cultural development. That's one of the mysteries that we have from the Roman Empire, from the Aztec Empire. So I try to cheat in that part of the concept development, and I said probably that was the same thing with the Romans. The Romans like this kind of weaponry. They like this kind of cultural development, and that's the justification that I have on that concept regarding that concept.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's a series of fantasy novels that I read, where they developed laser guns and stuff. It's gonna drive me nuts, but they didn't want to use them because they weren't macho enough. So the guys still used swords and everything. And anybody that used a laser, like everybody would be fighting, and if somebody brought out a gun, everybody would kill that guy for being a coward. You're gonna go to fight, get your sword, And I love in Warhammer, the Space Marines. They always equip themselves with an axe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they would say the axe doesn't run out of ammo. And sooner or later, you're going to be, and there's so many, like I read the comics and the novels. I don't play the games. It's too much money. But the Space Marines will take out their axe, and that'll be what saves the day. The same with I don't know if you ever read the Lensmen, but the Lensmen, these guys had these fantastic, almost magical weapons, but they all carried a sword or an axe for the same reason. Sooner or later, you're gonna be glad, like you'd be glad that. So I think there is a sci-fi tradition of just a sword. It's so cool. I mean, look at what I'm looking over here. You got this Roman guy holding up a sword. Next to him, you got these rocket chariots, and all I got to say is, this is comic books. This is comic books. Like. And your special effects budget is your brain and Diego's brain, and you can imagine all of this stuff. And this to me is why I love comic books.
Yeah,
because I mean, obviously you could do a movie, but this is $1 billion movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really love, like, this is so cool. It's just a great mix of, like, these guys have obviously futuristic armor, but it's obviously styled off the Romans. They got these big shields, which the Romans were famous for.
Yes.
And then you got that guy in the front with a cool looking gun. What's it do? I don't know. It's cool looking.
Well, if you try to apply like the logical thinking on this sequence, for example, they're trying to use a phalanx in order to get some defense from the attack, but at the same time they have, instead of archers, they have snipers. And right now that part of the sequence is the surgeons, I mean the rebellion faction, they're breaking through the line of the phalanx. So there's some logical thinking in that sequence, and it gives you some drama about what is going on there. And what is going on is they're losing, and they're losing badly.
Yeah, look at those, like, arrows. They're just big, heavy. Just the fact these guys are armored, they have big shields. So these like these spears just must be just powerful, or arrows rather. Just I don't know. I just got such a kick out of this. And again, I want to scroll down and show more stuff, but I don't think that's right to show more, give away your comic. So let's talk. Your comic is on Magma Comics. And you can check out Magma Comics. I have the Twitter link right here. Is they're a new company? I'm into comics. I'd never heard of Magma Comics until Oscar started bringing them up.
Yeah, I mean, Magma Comics, probably it looks like they're the new kids on the block, but not entirely.
Okay.
Magma Comics was an imprint inside Heavy Metal magazine.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have probably one, maybe two titles as an imprint inside Heavy Metal. And I'm talking about probably, I don't know, 5 years, a little bit more in the past. And then they start to develop the entire concept as a very independent publishing story besides Heavy Metal. If you want to get things real about the stuff inside Magma Comics, there's a bunch of guys with a lot of experience because they're former employees from IDW.
Oh, okay.
Entire Magma Comics staff, it's IDW former employees. So they have like a lot of experience in all the process behind the production side of the publishing house, and they have a lot of experience in the artistic part of the project. So yeah,
Okay.
Magma Comics, it does look like a new kid on the block, but they have like a lot of history behind them.
Oh, okay. So Magma Comics is American. I forgive me. I just assumed that they were a Mexican company. You
No,
know, no.
they're working with a Mexican with a Mexican brand, Ruptura Comics. Ruptura Comics, it's in part they're developing and they're producing Rome Eternal. So if you get the physical copy of Rome Eternal, you will see the Ruptura Comics logo, the Ruptura Studio logo, sorry, and the Magma Comics logo, because it's a joint venture between these two
Okay.
brands.
And just so you guys know, this is not a crowdfunding. Magma Comics Rome Eternal will be in the comic book stores November 6th, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So go to the comic book stores again. I ordered from Discount Comic Book Service. I ordered one. I ordered two. I can't wait to get them. They look so good, right up my alley, man. You know, and it's a good reason to get back into the comic book store, guys, because comics, you know, I love comics.
Let's get about something. Let's get real about something. What's your favorite cover? A or B? Because the V cover, it's really huge. It's Alan Qua on the V cover.
For your cover, let's bring it right back, and we'll ask the viewers. We'll ask the people.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's bring it back. So that's the A cover. That's what I ordered. I always order the A cover. And
okay,
that's
one for Diego Yapur.
And this is the B cover. I'll make it so
and
that we can see the whole thing. They're both awesome.
Yeah,
They're both awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah.
So what do you guys like? What do you guys like in the chat? Do you like the A cover, or do you like the B cover? They're both awesome. And then these are the other titles by Magma.
Yep.
Let me make that.
They're getting big. They're growing. They're making all the right choices. So if you guys want good quality comics, Magma Comics, it's your way to go.
Hell's Half Acre. That's a great title. I really like the Day of the Dead Girl is a great title for a book. A great title for a book. That is so cool.
Wow, Death of the Day Girl, they're doing great. I mean, AJ and Amy are doing a terrific job promoting their title, and the title looks awesome. So if you guys can get your hands on Day of the Dead Girl, please do, by all means. I'm a fan of that work.
Cool. You mentioned magical realism before.
Yep.
Probably, I'm going to say, yeah, my favorite novel of all time is 100 Years of Solitude. Marquez. That's. Are you familiar? I forget what country he's from, but he's South American, and as far as I know, he's one of the biggest in magical realism. And then he also did I think I'm going to get confused now, like Water for Chocolate, another one, right? Am I mixing the guys up? But 100 Years of Solitude, oh my God, is that the best novel?
Gabriel Garcia Marquez is the author.
Yeah, I always I pronounce his name like an American. I can't pronounce it correctly. The B cover has power mystery to it. Makes me want to open that book up. Yeah. I don't know. I like covers with multiple characters. So there you go. You got one likes A, one likes B. But this one.
Nice. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. A little hint, a little trivia. All the covers are made by Diego Yapur with my creative guideline, and the four covers for Rome Eternal are gonna give some hints about the inside So if you watch the cover, you can find one, maybe two hints regarding what's going on the story. It's because when I talked with my editor, I told him like I like the integrity of the title has to bring something to the table. And yes, I do understand that the cover is like the aesthetic part,
Right.
the eye candy part of the project, but to me, it has to be to bring something more to the table. It has to bring some content. It has to bring some hooks about the story. So if you guys pay attention in all the covers for the title, you will have a couple of things of extra things on each issue.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the art on the cover has to do with something inside. I don't like this modern trend of like it's just a portfolio piece of just a
Yeah,
cool, I like it when it's like that. For my comics anyway, all the covers have something to do with the inside of the comic. I just that's the way comics should be. We got careful driving. People are getting
no,
nervous for you.
we're cool.
Agreed. I prefer covers that are related to the story. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
No worries, no worries. We're cool, bro.
Is this a limited series?
Yeah, there's gonna be just 4 issues
Four
for
issues.
for the first arc. I like to think that I will be able to get more arcs for this title, but at the same time, I have to be realistic. So in order to get more arcs about this IP, I have to be very successful on the sales.
Yeah.
So let's hope for the best because the work is really really cool, and I'm talking about the work of Diego Yapur, the work of Sean Lee, the work of Oscar Carreño. They're very amazing colleagues, amazing teammates. So let's hope for this first arc. I will try to give some closure for this first arc in order that if there's no more issues or no more arcs for this title, the first arc has to be like
Yeah.
sufficient.
Yeah.
Sufficient.
It has to be self-contained. It has to be a satisfying conclusion.
Exactly.
That is
To
so important.
gratification to the audience.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, these days with comics, you have to be a little careful. You know what I mean? You don't want to say this is a 24 issue arc and then only 6 come out, So yeah, so 4 issues, that's realistic. That'll be satisfying. And then if that goes well, we'll go at what? We'll go with another 4 issues. Forgive my coughing. Jeez.
No worries, bro. Remember, audience, these coughs and everything is real because this interview is live. So
Yeah, we're live. We're live. That's why I'm getting nervous, man.
no,
At the risk of telling people too much, yesterday I had to drive down to my buddy's house.
Yeah.
Pick up my tools because I might be going back to work on Monday. I was nervous, man. I turned it. I used to be a cool driver. Now after my accident, I'm nervous. So,
come on, no worries. Everything's cool. Life is short, and we are.
Yeah, I don't want to make it shorter.
We're doing our best in order to survive. But right now, I'm getting home. I'm getting
Okay,
home
good.
right now. So
Looks
no
like the weather is beautiful where you live.
Thank you. I love my country. I'm Mexican. I live in Monterrey, Mexico. That's at the north of the country. I live probably a couple of hours from the border with Texas. So that's why that's the confusion with the time frame for this interview because
Yeah.
I believe that I have an extra hour.
Yeah, that
Right
happens.
now, I will be like, hey, probably we will have this interview in 10 minutes, but that's not the case. But no worry, we're improvising and we're
Yeah.
having our
So
conversation.
you live by Oscar. Do you and Oscar hang out at all? He lives in Monterey.
Yeah, exactly. We're of the same city. Sometimes we hang out for just have some conversations to
Oh,
deliver
cool.
things. And really, he's a really cool guy, bro.
Oh, and look how talented he is.
Yeah.
Oscar is going to be my artist and colorist on a comic that I'm working on. Look at this cover that he made.
My
Oh
God.
God, it's so good.
Yep.
So good. I sent him designed some characters. He designed a lot of these characters to the point these are co-created by me and Oscar. He is so freaking talented. I'm so glad I met him. But I show this cover at anytime I can because I want Oscar to get as much credit as possible. So, do you have any other comics that are you're working on that are going to be coming out? Oh, I think we lost them. Go back into the car.
Can you guys see me?
Yeah, I could see you. You froze for a second. So I don't know if you heard what I said. Do you have any other comics that you're working on?
Yeah, totally. I have. I work for Heavy Metal Magazine. Have an imprint called Virus, and I work for a title called Mundo Diablo. Mundo Diablo, it's a dark fantasy on Mexico City, totally in English, regarding a demon hunter called Diablero.
Okay.
Part of the Mexican folklore. It was really, really cool, really, really amazing. Um, I work for a small publisher from England called Impresia Comics. And right now I'm developing a title for them called Sinstress. It was very, very successful on the Kickstarter campaign. They funded probably 350% of the goals. So it was really, really impressive.
See, Sinstress is a great name too. You got some good names. Sinstress. I love that.
Yeah, it's sci-fi, dark fantasy, a female protagonist. Really, really cool. I work with Alex Owens, is the artist, and I'm just enjoying all the process and all the things that I'm doing right now in comic books, John. I do believe it's a really, really great momentum, and I'm very eager, for publish things, for show the things that I'm doing right now. I'm developing a second title for Impresia called Orb Spinner, and I'm going to show the artist probably next week.
Oh,
It's
cool.
a big name on the business, so I'm really excited about working with this.
Good for you.
Uh, yeah. So if you are not following me on Twitter or in X, sorry, thank you, Elon Musk.
I can't say X. I still say Twitter. I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot, Elon. Yeah. So if you guys are not following me on my X account, please feel free to follow to get some previews and stuff about the things that I'm working right now. Um, I'm developing cool things for Sumerian Comics right now. Sumerian are working on several IPs from rock bands. So I'm working on a very popular and underground cult punk rock band. I can't say the name for now, but yeah, it's really, really cool story.
So all your stuff is varied. I mean, you're not just doing typical superheroes or anything. You got like historical sci-fi. You got horror. You're working with a punk band.
Yeah.
No Batman, no Superman, no Green Lantern in your future.
I mean, I'm a fanboy. It's kind of weird because a lot of sci-fi writers are kind of ashamed about the superhero genre, and they don't consume DC or they don't consume Marvel or whatever because that's part of their past. Not for me. I love comics and I love superheroes, and I will be thrilled to work for a major publisher. I will be thrilled.
Who would you be your favorite? If right now, if I said, "Hey, I got the poll. This is who do you want to write? Who'd you pick?"
Jesus, that's
Jesus. You want to write Jesus comics?
Yeah, why not? I mean, if Mark Miller already did with Chosen, why not me myself? No, I do believe that I will like to work with Deadman for.
Oh, there's I love it. I love it. You came right out of left field right over that. Perfect. I was expecting Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, but Deadman. That is an interesting character, and it's got its basis in horror. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah. That will be my logical.
Wow, that is cool.
Because of my background, because I do believe I can do a really cool job Probably not amazing or whatever, but a really cool job for that.
I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure it'll be. Oh man, now the countdown has begun, DC, till we get a Homero Rios Dead Man series, because it's, you know, it's kind of an obscure character, so you never know. You got a chance.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And to me, it's like I do believe that a lot of people going to choose Batman or Spider-Man,
Right.
whatever. But to me, I like to get things very realistic. Once again, that's the key word for this interview. If there's some artists or writers out there that wants to break through comics, that's a very keyword, a very realistic keyword. Try to get things real about your own potential and the things that you can bring to the table. So there's like a lot of characters on their catalog. I'm talking about the major publishers. There's like a ton of characters that we can develop really cool things, really cool stories. Uh, Grant Morrison did it with Animal Man. Uh,
Right.
a lot of people did it through Vertigo Publishing. So I do believe that's a very cool way and a very intelligent way to achieve things on the comic book characters, grabbing the things that nobody likes it or are nobody watching.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, look,
like,
look what Grant Morrison did with Animal Man and Doom Patrol.
yeah,
These characters were all but forgotten until they revitalized them. You know,
yeah,
Swamp Thing was kind of going away and then Alan Moore reinvented the character.
yeah.
So absolutely, yeah. You want to get, yeah, take it like like Commandy. Who knows Commandy? Can you imagine writing a Commandy series? That would be awesome.
Will be awesome, dude. Awesome.
Yeah, my buddy Nick over here, he's drawing a comic called Crom the Destroyer. It's a fantasy, like
Yeah.
in the same vein as Conan. Do you like fantasy at all? Like no sci-fi, just swords and sorcery, Conan type stuff?
My man, you now we are getting serious.
Okay, all right. So now the light has to come on. Now we're gonna talk.
Sword and sorcery is one of my favorite genres. I love
Okay.
Conan. I love all I love Elric of Melniboné.
Oh my God. You just mentioned that's my favorite fantasy. I never bring it up because whenever I do, people, they don't know what I'm talking about. But oh my God, I grew up. I'm reaching over here because I used to have a book, but I moved it just the other day
Yeah.
of Elric and Melniboné, and I just reread them a couple. You're gonna get me geeking out because I love Elric of Melniboné.
If you want to if you want to get a very cool and very funny conversation with someone on a geek party, try to uh, to talk with writers, because most of the writers, we have very funny stories about how we get rejected on several IPs. For example, I get rejected for Conan once.
Oh really?
Yeah, sure. I get rejected for Cult, for example. That was another IP, really cool IP for the 90s. Uh, and it was really great. It was really amazing because sometimes you get in touch with an editor, and the editor are willing to review some of your work. And sometimes they don't reject you because your work is bad or whatever. There's a lot of conflicts, a lot of things that makes you get rejected, not because of your quality. Sometimes it's something from an agenda, sometimes it's a budget thing. But the really cool thing is, hey, I almost write this thing once.
Well, I wrote it when in the '90s when I was like a young adult. I sent a whole bunch of letters to DC about how they should do Captain Marvel. Oh, I scared them away. I scared them away. I said, well, I'll finish the story, but I sent a bunch of letters. So in my mind, I got rejected for Green Lantern, Captain Marvel, and Batman and Superman. Let's see if Oscar will come back. Click on the link, Oscar. I mean, Homero. Oscar's. I'm looking at his. Read Tom King's Human Target Endangered. Yeah, you brought up the Human Target. I got to check it out. I got to check it out. Unfortunately, I haven't read any new DC comics. And geez, I don't know how long. Let's see. I'm gonna get the invite. I'll send it back to him on Twitter to see if everything's okay. I'll just send him the invite again. I don't know. Maybe he just lost it. But if he doesn't come back in a minute or so, I will. I'll play the trailer to my comic. Why not? I thought I just hit the wrong button again because that would just be perfect. Maybe I scared him away. Maybe Nick X is correct. I have that effect on people. So I'll play the trailer and hope he comes back. I love that trailer and any chance to show off this Mike Gustovich cover. And I can't, I just love that. I just love that. So I guess, oh, I thought I saw him coming back. I guess Homero's having difficulty. I guess we'll close it down there. Yep, Nick is absolutely right. I have that. People just leave me in mid-conversation. It's not the first time. I once had a girl just get up and leave, said she was going to the bathroom, and just ran out the front door. I thought maybe she had to go to the bathroom outside. Well, I don't judge people. There are a few I did a video earlier today where I went through this Marvel preview, and I got to say the art at Marvel looks amazing, but I barely recognized any of the writers. Well, I don't know what happened. Homero just had a bad connection, but I will bring up his comic one last time because it just looks so freaking good. Here we go. Let's look at the cover. This is the variant cover. Reminds me of Gwar. And this is the cover that I'm getting. I don't know. I just love this team with the Coliseum in the back. Look at that. I love this blue skin fellow with the drama mask on. Oh, I'm not even showing it. Oh, here he is.
Hello, welcome everybody to the second round. Because
I thought I scared you.
I'm so stupid that I forget to get charged on my cell phone and completely died. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We're here again. We can start from the beginning.
Just kidding. So you were saying it's good to get that you almost wrote Conan,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of dramatic to say like I almost did this or I almost did that, but we try. We try as a writers, we try as an artist to get close to the things that we loved, and sometimes we achieve that tryout. And inside of the tryout subjects and topics, there's a lot of very funny stories, and not about myself. I'm talking about most of the artists on the industry. We had a lot of almost this, almost that.
Now I forgot my question. Did you submit for Marvel or DC? Did you ever get any?
Yes and no, because if you remember that interviews with C.V. Cebulski, for example, when he was like headhunter of Marvel, regarding the writers, he was like, we're looking for people that already get published with some background, with some.
You working for Marvel? Marvel's the top dog. You want experienced writers. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, but it's kind of different for the artist because the artist doesn't have to have like a lot of experience, just talent.
Right, and it's like I heard so many stories of like artists just go to a convention and they just hold up their art. Now, what are we going to do? I can't draw. I write scripts. What am I going to do? Hold up a script?
No.
So it's,
The only way is to build your way to the major publishers, and the only way to do that is to get published
right.
on small press, medium-sized publishers. That's the only way. Now, on the way, a lot of writers are discouraged to get published by major publishers because you are just fine, for example, like in medium-sized publishers. Yes, you can try out for the major publishers as a writer, but what they're looking for is experience,
right,
and some record as a writer inside the industry.
Nick says writers need to self-publish in order to build their portfolio.
Yeah.
I don't even want to read my friends' scripts. But I'll do it, but I don't want to. I'd rather read a pub. So I can understand an editor for Marvel. They don't want. They could literally spend all day every day reading submissions. You know,
Yeah.
I remember back, in the 80s and the 70s, Marvel and DC used to have submission editors.
Yes.
And you would send, samples of your writing and samples of your art to the submission, and that was part of their job was to check out new. But they don't do that anymore. Marvel and DC, that's what Image is for. That's what all the other small publishers are for. And now I imagine that's what like self-publishing is for, so they can see a finished comic book.
And to be fair, sometimes you have some eras inside of your life. For example, I had the self-published era, the self-published title chapter in my life. We did it for probably 7-8 years that I get self-published, and I move all my work around Mexico, in some part of the States. It's really cool on its time. It's kind of romantic, but at the same time, it's kind of tired. So right now, if you tell me like, are you interested in get self-published? Not for me, because I already did. It was wonderful. It was amazing. But I'll never do that again. I already did. It was wonderful, but I have to move on.
They choose from the writers that they would publish. Yeah, I don't blame them. It makes sense. And then Oscar says this. They had to prohibit. Yeah, they weren't allowed to read submissions to avoid lawsuits. I remember, who did I talk to about this? But my mother went to a wedding with a coworker, and was it Mike Carlin? I think it was Mike Carlin was at the wedding, and my mother just talked to him. And that's my mother said, "Yeah, my son wants to write comic book stuff, and he can he send you stuff?" And he outright said that. He goes, "I can't read his proposals because then if I have a story that comes out, he's going to sue me." So,
yeah,
America's a litigious country. So half the things we do is to protect ourselves from lawsuits. It's you don't want to get in a lawsuit. It makes sense. Now they have AI read the manuscript. Really? How do you does AI actually reads like
you wanna talk about that topic?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I don't mind. I mean, it's a very hot topic, a very hot subject. But I do believe that it's a really cool tool. I will give you an example. I use artificial intelligence, for example, in order to get a good translation inside my job, because English, I'm a writer, but English, most and foremost, is my second language and always gonna be. So I like to get really specific about slangs, about personality inside of the dialogues, and that's something that I will not achieve so easily because, yet again, it's my second language.
Right.
So what I do, and this is very personal. It's part of my process. I write everything. I write down everything that I have in my mind, but yet again, I check for spelling. I check for slang. I check for that minor stuff inside my job. I'm not using the tool that the tool developed the work for me. It's just
AI is your tool to help you.
Exactly, because
right.
That's what it is. It's a tool. is not an instrumentation of supplement or try to steal my essence as a writer. Because if you use it from zero, like, hey, I not develop anything, I will just give some prompts and the machine will develop my work, dude, you're just missing the point here.
Right.
Because
Plus,
it's just
fun,
cool.
it's fun to write a story. So why would I want to give up on that fun?
Totally,
Yeah.
man. It's very wonderful to develop your story, to find new ways to connect with the audience, because the audience is in constant changing because of the age, because of the culture, because of the language. It's in constant change. So you have to adapt as an artist, as a creative. So some people look that as an obstacle, as a way to try to put you down as a writer. But to me, it's a challenge. It's a new way to, let's see how far I can get with this idea of mine, with this attempt of mine, with this very broken English of mine. It's a challenge. Let's see if I can achieve it. And right now, I feel very, very comfortable with the things that I'm doing right now, and with the things that I can attempt with Magma or with Rome Eternal or with Sumerian or with any other project that I'm developing right now.
Cool. What does Oscar say? I'm waiting for the other members of the Queen to go up. Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. He's joking that you look like the video from Queen. What's the name? Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. I can sing if you like to. I mean,
is this real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a lens. So, is there, like we were talking before? Oh, this is what I wanted to ask you before you disappeared. In Mexico, as a kid, you said a lot of writers like to keep the comic book like quiet. Are comics cool? Like when you're in high school, junior high school, is it something that you keep quiet, that you're into Daredevil and Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four, or is it cool now?
Nice question.
Because when I was a kid, I hid that I read comics, because back in the 80s, the cool people, especially the girls won't go out with guys who are reading comic books. So you had to be quiet. You had to keep it a secret.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that you keep quiet, not because there's some bullies trying to find out some people to punch because they read comics. That's not the way. But yeah, probably it's something about the appeal as males that want to get girls impressed by our virtues and our talents, and probably being very geek about it is not very appealing. So you try to keep quiet about that.
Because now it seems cool. Now,
I mean, dude, I love women's. I like to go out, and it's really, really cool when they, hey, what do you do? Well, I develop some things for the comic industry. Oh, really? Yeah, like MCU. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, me. Yeah. You ever heard of Iron Man? I wrote that.
No. I mean, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't wanna lie about my job, but it's kind of cool. Like, bring it to the table, but in a really cool way. Like, hey, I do this, or I try that, or whatever.
My real job is I'm a construction worker. I work at the airport, do construction, and when I tell guys I make comics, like, I'm at the age where I don't care if people tease me or it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I'm making a comic. All the guys are like, really? That's so cool. Oh, I used to love comics. They still make comics. And that's the sad thing, is when they say they still make comics, because I love going to the comic book stores. I used to love hanging out at the comic book stores, but I just never thought that other people, once, for the regular person, once comic books stopped showing up at the newsstand, a lot of people just thought they stopped making them.
I
never thought until
probably part of the main problem is that sometimes we are so blind about the trends inside of the comic industry. Sometimes you just don't see the comics that you loved, and you say like, oh, this is dying. This is dying because they're no
Yeah.
longer producing this or that I loved when I was young. But the comic industry is adapting. There's like a lot of new creative that are developing really cool IPs for the comic industry, and there's like a lot of readers that probably they don't like the things that you like. They don't
Right.
read heavy metal or whatever, but they reading, I don't know, Boom. They're reading Image. They're reading like it's not even about the publisher. It's about the creative. They're reading Tinion. They're reading Jason Aaron. They're reading like
I'll follow the writers usually. Like
totally.
I like the artists too,
Same
but
here.
I like the story, so I'll follow writers wherever they go. Like Ed Brubaker, I'm following that guy wherever he goes.
You like Brubaker? What's your favorite comic about Brubaker?
I think Sleeper. I think Sleeper was
Sleeper is a good option.
a
Yeah.
criminal.
Great choice.
And now I'm thinking Fatale. Yeah, now the more I'm thinking about it, the more I could mention. But
I mean, it's kind of.
You know
I
what's
do understand that because Brubaker, it's very contemporary, but at the same time, it's very classical about
Right.
the things that he writes. So good choice.
yeah, like I didn't think I would like crime comics, and then from him, because I grew up reading classic superheroes,
Yeah.
and then him, and then what's the other guy? Brian Azzaro. He's another one who's doing some crime. Brian Wood, I really like his historical stuff. Like he did Northlanders. I just started reading Rebels. I didn't even know this comic came out. Right under my radar. It's about the American colonists, like founding of America, the colonial times. It's so good,
To me, if I have to make a choice about a very cool current creative on the comic industry, I'll have to say Cullen Bunn.
Okay.
Because he writes horror comics, and people to develop horror comics, it's kind of hard because it was a huge classic on the late century, but suddenly nobody is talking about horror in comics, and Cullen Bunn comes out bringing like a lot of really cool stuff. So it was really amazing to me, the things that he's developing.
Horror, I tried. Horror is really tough because it's believe it or not, it's timing. Like,
Yeah.
I think horror and comedy are probably the two hardest to write because you got to be good with timing. Oh, I take it back. I think detective is probably the hardest. I'm not smart enough to write a detective story yet. Maybe someday I'll write a detective story, solve a crime. But I don't know. I love that there's so many different types. And like you said, I don't know. Are you aware of like the crowdfunding and all of these indie comics that are, on Kickstarter and Fund My Comic and Indiegogo? Like, there's so many good comics that you could find. Like,
Yeah. To me, I'm very new about this crowdfunding thing. Let me give you an example. This year, I get approached by Richard Ems, the CEO of Impresia.
okay.
And he was like, hey, I'm looking for a writer. Would you please give me a tryout about this sequence? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I worked that tryout. He was amazed by my job. That's his words. And he was like, hey, would you like to develop a title for Impresia? It's a Kickstarter project. And to me, Kickstarter was like a very muddy topic. I wasn't very familiar about that platform, and I did believe that it was kind of shady. And I was like, okay, I will give it a shot. And suddenly, out of the blue, this 350 funded project, and we are totally producing this title and this second issue and whatever. And I was like, this was a crowdfunding project, and it was hugely successful. I mean, sign me up for another one. And
yeah, I remember, the guy that turned me on to all this was that guy, Diversity in Comics. He did his comic Jawbreakers, and I was like, this is the stupidest idea ever. I just thought it was like, you gotta do it, and he's been doing it now for almost 10 years. And I'm like, I'll try it,
Yeah.
I'm not as successful as your boy Zach over there, but It's got to start somewhere. But
Well, I mean, we can talk about that. What success means, because it means different things for different people. Let me give you an example how success means in the comic industry in Mexico.
okay,
In Mexico, you are successful in comics if you work for Marvel.
okay,
I'm trying to generalize because again, there's like a lot of opinions, but this is like the main the main opinion out there. If you're going to a comic convention or whatever, the most iconic, the huge stands for writers and artists and color artists and whatever, they're all working for Marvel. And
Right.
if you're working for Marvel, you are successful in comic industry. But if you are working in a different publisher that Marvel, you are struggling. You're
and
struggling
even
to
DC.
survive.
I don't work for Marvel. I work for DC. I'm good. I'm good. They're gonna say no.
I mean, I right now I'm working totally in medium-sized publishers, and I'm just fine. I consider myself successful because I'm doing what I love, and I'm living from that. And to me, that's success.
Yeah. For me, success is, can I do another one? You know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
people like it enough that they want me to do another one, if I could break even, because I got my day job. My
Yeah.
day job pays my mortgage, and construction workers in New York do pretty good, so I'm not complaining. I'm just hoping when all this is said and done that I could use my money to make the second issue. That will be six. And will I get more backers? If I get more and more backers every campaign, then I'm successful. That's the definition of success for me.
Yeah, and that's really cool. So, to me, for example, is like keep creating stuff, because that's one of the remaining questions every year, every time here in the comic industry in Mexico. Are we having an industry in Mexico? Is that industry exists? So, like a lot of people is, hey, it doesn't exist. It does exist. You have to combine your comic development with a day job or whatever. To me, my day job is create very cool stuff for marketing, but I'm creating things. To me, it's keep creating things in comics, and I do create things in comics. To me, it's to work on TV here in Mexico, and I done that, and I did that for a long time, and that's keep things creative. To me, that's the name of the game. Be creative in anything that you are, and anything that you do, and in anything that you achieve. So to me, that's success. I'm creating stuff.
Cool.
I don't care the platform. I don't care the final destination to that IP or whatever. I'm creating things, and to me, that's success.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we've been talking for over an hour now. Is there anything that I did not bring up that you'd like me to bring up before we close out for the night?
I don't know if there any other thing that the audience are curious about.
First off, let's just remind everybody, Rome Eternal is coming out November 6th on Magma Comics.
Yep.
We got our buddy Oscar over here doing the colors, and you, Homero, are writing it, and Diego, is that his first name? Diego Yapor is doing the art, and oh my God, this just looks. If anything, it looks great. If anything, I read the comic, so I'm a little biased. I already read the comic, but I can't wait. I pre-ordered it, so I will be buying it. I pre-ordered number 2, and it's 2 of 4.
Yep.
And maybe more. And you said Magma was a spin-off of Heavy Metal.
They was originally as an imprint, a subprint from Heavy Metal, and a couple of years later, because Heavy Metal went to its demise for a couple of years. Right now, they're trying to get a revival for that magazine, but after that demise of the magazine, Magma Comics developed this new business model and this print in a very successful way, in my opinion.
That's right. Heavy Metal's coming back with the new issue number 1, right? They're starting all over. yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot for a little while, right?
I mean, I worked for that magazine since 2011, and probably through all these years to 2020, 2021. So I do understand the struggles, and I do understand like the things behind the curtains. But at the same times, I do understand that most of the struggles that they had could be avoided.
Right.
So let's see. I would give them the benefit of the doubt to see if they do things right this time.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I was, like I said, I was looking at Marvel. Looks like they're fixing a lot of their problems. I got to say, I obviously didn't read anything in their previews yet, but it looks awesome. So I'm thinking maybe comics are coming back, because there was a little bit of a weird 5-year weird take on comics.
A huge bump on the road.
Yeah, I was being nice. Yeah. But I'm going to close out now. It's 8:30 here, and I'm going to go have my dinner, spend some time with my wife. And anything you want to say before we go?
John, thank you very much for having me. Audience, thank you very much for giving a chance to Rome Eternal, for giving a chance to Oscar, Diego, and myself with this title. Please subscribe to Magma. Please subscribe to the title. Order the preview, and let's see where this is going.
Go to the comic book store and pick up a comic, for those of you who have, because it's a good comic. You know, I want to see all comics do well. I want there to be good comics. I'm not one of these YouTube people that likes when things are bad. I like when things are good, and I like comics. I want comic book stores to stay in business. I want comics to do well. I want my comic book to go to a comic book store at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Go
for it.
So there we go, Magma Comics, and I put your links in the description, and good luck, man. It looks great.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, John.
All right, see you, everybody. Bye-bye.